The world is changing and so are we. We demand more from ourselves and more from our travels. New places, new experiences, the chance to make the most of our free time and our time on the planet. This is the series that's here to help you make the most of your travel.
You're looking at Lithuania, one of Europe's tiniest countries, and as far as some people are concerned, one of the newest. That's not true though. Life for Lithuanians began 1,000 years ago, and it reached its high point in the 16th century when Lithuania formed an alliance with Poland and became one of the largest, most populous nations in Europe. Sadly though, the good times didn't last. In the 17th century, the Russians came knocking, and after a series of annexations, Lithuania disappeared from the map. Independence was only re-established in the early 1990s. That might sound like a lot of history guff, but in order to understand this country and its people, you do have to consider all the elements of its past. Lithuania is nestled on the Baltic coast, between Russia and Latvia. And here's a surprise, it's been scientifically proven to be geographically the centre of Europe. Fitting then that it joined the EU in 2004, a fact that was celebrated in 2009 when the capital, Vilnius, became European Capital of Culture. It's a staunchly Catholic country of around 3.5 million people. Needless to say, that means plenty of pretty jaw-dropping churches. But it's Trakai Castle that gets the nod as the most famous building in the country. In a past life, it was the seat of government. Nowadays, it's a fun day out. There are boat trips around the lake for the best views, and inside, a couple of museums delve into the castle's history. Hello? Hello? Can you come back for the key? I really didn't know that much about Lithuania before I came here. I've got vague memories as a kid of seeing TV pictures of the protesters and the Soviet tanks during the struggle for independence. And I guess I was expecting a country that was still trying to overcome the drab uniformity of Soviet rule. I couldn't have been more wrong, though. First impressions are telling me that this is a place full of beautiful, picturesque sites that hold their own amongst Europe's finest. I'm only feeling let down on one thing. Apparently Lithuania translates as country of rain, and so far, it's not living up to its name. Not a bad view, some nice hills, but it doesn't really tell the whole story. Lithuania's had 4 capitals, Vilnius, Kaunas, Trakai, and this is the first, Kernavė. It was actually a series of hill forts, and it formed the seat of government for the Grand Duke of Lithuania back in the Middle Ages when the country was a pagan state. Archaeologists have found evidence of settlement here, dating back to the 4th century. Legend has it that when Kernavė was eventually sacked and burnt to the ground, a mystic princess, Pajauta, sat on the hills and shed tears for the fallen city. These days, visitors can actually search for the tears, which I'm told lie somewhere on this hillside. Right, let's have a look. Oh, no, that's stingy nettles. Aha, that looks like tears. Thank you. I'll sort my embassy. Look, if this is about the hotel bill, I promise I'll pay it. So I seem to be abducted. Now, apparently this recreates what would happen to people during pagan times. The rulers would capture any visitors in case they were Christian missionaries coming to convert the people. I wonder what happened to them.
Release that man!
Oh, phew.
Let's take him on, mate!
I'm Danny from Travel Channel.
Me too. Welcome to Kernavė. Excuse my people, they're not very used with foreigners.
Oh, that's okay, don't worry. So, Patrick, a short while ago I was in a forest being abducted in medieval times, and now I'm surrounded by Soviet-era cars. What's happened?
You know, when you get to Kernavė, then you know there is over 10,000 years of history, of our common European history here. And the idea was to play through the history and then to make the people understanding what it was within the theatric ways, and that the Middle Age was one part of it, because this was the highest time for the village. So the Middle Age was over 4,000 inhabitants. Today only 350.
And these cars here, you're renovating those yourself?
Yeah, we do. Quite easy, actually. No electronics, nothing. Just put your hand in the engine and do what you want. And they work. One was over 20 years in the garage. It didn't work. And we put some gasoline inside it and then fix a little bit, put a new accumulator, and the car started and worked.
Half a century of communist rule is brought vividly to life in Vilnius at the KGB Museum of Genocide Victims. The building's pretty much as it was when the KGB left in 1991. The spying equipment, stuff for fingerprinting, and a whole network of cells, some specially designed for torture, others for solitary confinement. And if you were a prisoner, this is where it would all start. You'd be locked in here whilst you waited to be processed. These cells were usually home to Lithuanian freedom fighters and dissidents who opposed the initial Soviet occupation, then the Nazis, and finally the second Soviet occupation, which resulted in repression, mass evictions to Siberia, and the attempted dissolution of national identity. This was the execution chamber. Over on the wall you can still see some of the bullet marks, and that's the drain where they used to wash away the blood. It's creepy here. You get a real sense of the paranoia of what it was like to be constantly spied on. But Lithuanians are a hardy bunch, and since liberation, Vilnius has blossomed into a Baltic stunner. Plenty of development and renovation have brought the city into the 21st century. But before I take a look at that, I'm going to explore the old town. This is one of the largest Baroque old towns in Eastern Europe, tucked into a valley between the Vilnia and Neris rivers. There are plenty of snaking lanes and cobbled streets to explore. It's a great place to get lost in for a few days. Charming hotels like this are dotted across the old town. Well, all right, maybe not all quite as nice as this one. These sort of buildings were used as glassblowers' workshops originally. Then this became a tavern, and then 300 years ago the church bought it and added rooms. Now it's the swanky place to stay. Not bad, eh? After lavish restorations, this is a prime example of the progressiveness of a city that's trying hard to maintain a traditional feel, yet slot into the modern demands of tourists, as more and more first-time visitors venture into the country. Ujapis! To you too, you might be thinking. But actually it translates as the other side of the river. And like the left bank in Paris, it's where all the arty types hang out. And guess what? It's an independent republic. Not your usual independent republic either. For a start, it's only just over half a square kilometre in size. And the government doesn't recognise it. But it does have its own flag, president and army. All 12 of them. Seriously. And of course, their own constitution. I love this. It really sums up the spirit of Ujapis. Up here we've got everyone has the right to die, but this is not an obligation. Everyone has the right to love. And further down we've got a dog has the right to be a dog, and a cat is not obliged to love its owner, but must help in times of need. And those crazy ones might explain why further down we've got everyone has the right to be misunderstood. But at the bottom is my favourite bit. Here we have do not defeat, do not fight back, do not surrender. Some people in Vilnius just won't give up the revolution. It's a bohemian crowd that congregate here, and having heard the Constitution, it's easy to see why. The result is an unusual, interesting little district. Cosy cafes, art galleries, and artists' workshops, all very reminiscent of Copenhagen's famous Christiania. From Ujapis to on the piss. Well, not quite. Wow, look at that. Lithuanian socialising is all about good old-fashioned fun, rather than the laddish stag do antics of other Eastern European cities. Okay, take a look at this. This is the local tipple. It's called Trochtine. I guess it's a bit like schnapps, and we've got lots of different kinds here. I've been talked through this. We've got a cherry one, a bitter one, an even more bitter one. That's got 27 different herbs in it. That is just really strong. That's 50%. And this is a honey one, so that's kind of like dessert, I guess. Now I'm going to try these one at a time. Let's have a go. Cherry first. Ooh, that's sweet. Oh, this bitter. Oh, actually, that went down the wrong way. Oh, ouch, that is very bitter. Oh dear. Oh, that's an acquired taste. This is 27 herbs. Oh dear me, this is hard work. Pour down. Oh dear. I wouldn't normally do this on holiday, but you know, since it's a special occasion, I got. I can't remember what this one is. Oh, that was the strong one. And then finally we finished off. Oh dear. Oh dear. Finally we finish off with honey for dessert. That